1100 and 100.9 FM is KWWN Las Vegas. K265EZ.
Las Vegas Sportsline is owned and produced by Vegas Sportsline, LLC. All opinions expressed by the hosts or guests are their own and are not endorsed by either radio station management or any of its advertisers.
It's time for the Las Vegas Sportsline. Brought to you by the Westgate Las Vegas, home of the world's largest race and sportsbook and the Super Contest.
Money won is twice as sweet as money earned.
Presented by WagerTalk.com.
A big Tuesday edition of the Las Vegas Sportsline is on its way. It's brought to you by Superbook USA. Looking forward to Jeff Sherman coming on, and he'll be telling us about a prop that's available now, and it's good until 2040. Yes. You wonder what that is? What does that sound? What is that?
We don't.
It's all right. It's gone now. What did you do, Ari?
It must have been one of these mics. I was just
blame
not
it on,
sure which one.
Blame it on the microphones.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's all right, Platinum, our former producer. Marco DAngelo's here. I'm Dave Cokin. Jeff Sherman will be with us, as previously mentioned, in just a little bit. Well, the Warriors complete the sweep, but you know what? This was a good 4-game series. I mean, Marco, all the games are competitive.
If you're the Portland Trailblazers and you're their fans, I mean, my God, you talk about getting teased every single game.
Boy,
they were ahead
hard
into the second half and, found a way to lose. And you just knew down the stretch what was going to happen. It was inevitable. And, I was sitting at Caesars playing poker last night and then listening to everybody, at the poker table. It's fun listening to them watching the game. And I'm sitting there trying to get on and get a in-game wager going because I knew what was going to happen, and I just couldn't catch it at the right number. And sure enough, the Warriors get the win, but unfortunately, not the cover for people that got to the party late on the Warriors yesterday with that line just continuing going up all day long.
I would assume it was a pretty good result for the house, with the game landing on 2 with Golden State winning but not covering. Yeah. That's got to be, that's generally the ideal scenario. We'll find out from Jeff Sherman in just a little bit. Tough night for the Angels. They lose the game, and they lose Andrelton Simmons for, it's got to be a decent number of games with a sprained ankle, and he's lucky he didn't break it, trying to stretch out a single. Great effort, but he landed very awkwardly and had to be helped off the field. And Shohei Ohtani gets hit in the finger by a pitch. I think he's okay. The x-rays were negative, but he might be missing a game or two. Boy, the Angels, they have been so snake-bit by injuries for, 3 years running now?
Yeah, it is. You look at this team, and, last year with, Ohtani, before they had to shut him down, how good of a season he was having in, his first campaign with him. Just when you see, you think that the Angels turn the corner and might begin to make a little bit of a run, they're not going to catch Houston. We know that.
No, but they're a team that at least
they're fun to watch.
Well, and they're probably looking at this saying, well, we could compete for a wild card. Tampa Bay might be starting to back up. Minnesota, Cleveland. If Minnesota's the best team, Cleveland might be the second best team, but they're not. It's not like they're going to win 95 games.
No.
So the Angels have got to be looking at it and saying, look, we've got a young pitcher who looks like he's going to be around in Canning. Andrew Heaney had a great game last night in AAA, and we know he's a capable pitcher if he's healthy. Whether he stays healthy or not is another story. But I know they're 3 games under 500, but you get the sense the Angels are at least capable of making a run. But you got to keep the bodies on the field.
Absolutely, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just got to try to weather the storm to get all hands back on deck. And they're not as deep as some other teams. We saw nobody has had more injuries than the Yankees, and they've weathered the storm, and there they are, right, and back in first place. And when this team's at full strength, man, it's going to be tough. It's the Yankees division.
That win shouldn't count last night. The Orioles should be relegated to Quad A. Come up with a Quad A league, and just take Miami and Baltimore and a couple other teams saying, look, you can't play in the majors anymore. We're going down to 28 teams, and the 3 worst teams you can just round robin amongst yourselves in the Quad A league.
And Dave, honestly, because of that division, that's why basically I think there's going to be 3 teams come out of there for the playoffs.
I would say it's the favorite, yeah.
Yeah, the division winner, obviously, and the 2 wild cards are going to come out of there. And obviously, if the season ended today, you'd be looking at Tampa Bay, Boston. Not today, but Boston, I think, will get that other spot as the season progresses.
We have the most sensible rainout of the year in Major League Baseball tonight. We'll tell you why as we move to our Tuesday edition of the M.J. Christensen 4 at 4.
1, 2, 3 into the 4.
Put them 4s up. Put the 4s up, I said. Do it right now.
Tonight's action is just around the bend, and the guys want to get your night off to a great start.
4.
It's the Las Vegas Sportsline's 4 at 4.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Unbelievable.
Why is this the smartest rainout of the year? Well, the Royals and Cardinals were scheduled to play tonight. There is some weather in the forecast. My suspicion is that they probably could have gotten the game in. But why bother? It's going to be a lousy night, and there's a bigger game in St. Louis tonight, Marco. A much bigger game. The St. Louis Blues looking to get back to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in a long, long time. They need to win tonight against the San Jose Sharks to avoid having to go back to San Jose for a Game 7. And they'll face a San Jose team that is down 2 guys. Carlson and Hertl will not be playing. Looks like Pavelski will be playing, but you have to wonder about the shape he's in. And the Sharks limping into St. Louis after getting blown out on home ice in Game 5. And holy cow, look at what's happening in the betting line in this game. It's like up to minus 180 now. They are betting the Blues like the game is already over.
And, Dave, you look at it, and I just got it. I think it is over. You talk about San Jose. What's their mindset after getting drilled 5-0 at home? You're coming back home, Game 5. That's the pivotal game. We know the history of playoff 7-game series. When you're tied going into that Game 5, team that wins Game 5 goes on and wins the series the majority of the time. And all of a sudden, Martin Jones now, after playing well for a stretch, he looks like he did at the beginning of the Golden Knights series. He's given up some goals. The last 3 of the last 4 games, 4, 4, and 5, is what St. Louis has scored. And then on the flip side, goaltender Binnington, he's standing on his head right now. This kid has been absolutely amazing. 2 goals or less in 6 of the last 8 games. And, Dave, this is a rookie that wasn't even on the roster at the beginning of the season, got to start in January and turned this whole team around. I got to go with St. Louis here. San Jose just 8-18 in road games after 2 or more consecutive losses the last 3 seasons. Just not shaping up well for them tonight, but it's a big number.
Kitchen sink time for San Jose early in this game. They've got to go all out very early. If they fall behind in this game, it would appear to be a very difficult road back. To me, the value bet as it stands now, I'd take a shot with Sharks first period. It's up as high as plus 135, plus 140 in the first period. You're going to get a big effort out of San Jose early. And if I were looking at a value play for tonight, that would be the play. On the diamond, boy, an exciting game last night at Wrigley. Yeah. Phillies and Cubs, that was a really fun game. The Cubs squandered several opportunities to kind of blow the game open. And you know what happens when you let opportunity get away? You end up losing the game most of the time, and that's what happened to them last night. As the Phillies end up getting the bomb from Real Muto in extra innings. Yu Darvish had some tough luck last night. He did pitch really well in the game. I thought he outpitched Arrieta, but Arrieta came up with the clutch pitches to keep the Phillies in the game, and Philadelphia ends up winning it. Rematch tonight in another good matchup with Eflin, who's had a good year for the Phillies, and Quintana, who's had a good year for the Cubs. There's been some movement on the total in this game. I don't think the weather conditions are as bad as originally anticipated this morning in terms of the wind, and you've seen it tick up to 7.5 from 7, so maybe you can support that. I didn't come up with a play. Those 2 guys are both pitching well, and I don't know. I think I would suspect it might be a pitching duel. I don't trust the bullpens for either team, though, so to me, my look, I didn't play it. My look would have been first 5 under, if anything.
Yeah, I'm looking at this one. Philadelphia, obviously, 4 straight wins now. You talked about Zach Eflin, and he did. After pitching 3 gems in a row, though, he was roughed up last time, 4 runs in 5 innings. I look at the Cubs. Their pitching has allowed 5 runs or more now in 5 of the last 6 games. Not thrilled about that. but Quintana, since getting bombed in his opening start of the season, he's reeled off now, Dave, 7 straight games where he's allowed 3 runs or less, and he's a guy that's going to get you to the 6th inning most of the time.
4 strikes.
Yeah. And, so I'm looking at that. Cubs also, Dave, don't forget, last night was a bad scheduling spot for them. They played the Sunday night game, and then had to travel home. I'm going to go ahead and give the Cubs a shot here. They're 17-6 as a favorite of 150 or less this season, and they're 21-6 against the line here when they're coming off 1-run loss over the last 2 seasons. I'll take the Cubs tonight in Quintana.
When we did the WagerTalk first pitch this morning, I talked extensively about Chris Bassett of the Oakland A's, so I'll repeat those thoughts. First pitch, by the way, you can pick it up at WagerTalk.com. Watch it every day. Present myself, Marco, Brian Leonard on occasion. Lots of good handicappers on a daily basis to break down the schedule. But anyway, Chris Bassett has become one of the more interesting guys of 2019. Kind of a nothing pitcher. Back end of the rotation guy, if that. But Bassett has had a bit of a breakout this year. He's pitching very well for Oakland. And in what has been a disappointing season to date, Bassett had been one of the bright lights. Now, looks like the A's bats are finally starting to catch up. Granted, I know it was a weekend in Detroit, which is like a Hawaiian vacation for most big league hitters now. The weather's not very good, but, boy, facing those Tigers, man, they are not good. And the A's took full advantage of it by sweeping the series. They kept the momentum going with the win last night and beat Cookie Carrasco in the process, although Carrasco kind of beat himself. His velocity was not where it normally is last night. Oakland took advantage. Tonight they go against Trevor Bauer, who also has been a little bit off lately. Bauer's not pitching at the level he did last season. I think he can turn it around quickly enough, but he's not in great form right now. Bassett is getting a lot of soft contact with his four-seam fastball and some swings and misses, too. A lot of them, in fact. This looks like one of those lines where it looks easy to take Cleveland. It's pretty cheap, considering Bauer's on the mound. I think the indicators are there for an Oakland play tonight, and I did side with the A's in this ballgame.
Yeah, the money's definitely come in on the A's in this one, Dave. And as you said, Bassett, 5 starts this season, ERA 1.93, a whip of 0.91. And he is going to be sky high for this game.
Homecoming. He's from Akron, I believe.
Yes, he pitched at Akron in college baseball, and so he'll be sky high on the mound. Trevor Bauer, this is a guy that has been up and down all season long. He did 2 starts back, pitch against the A's in Oakland, and it was one of his best games of the season. Does he duplicate that tonight? Here's the one stat that bothers me on Oakland, Dave. They're just 9-17 on the road this season.
Right.
And with those 9 wins, 6 of the 9 wins came against, 3 of them against Detroit, 3 of them against Baltimore. Doesn't get much worse than that. So against the rest of the league, you're looking at a 3-17 record. If you take those 2 teams out of there on the road, they got the first one last night, but I think Cleveland, with the price, with the move down, I actually think the value is on Cleveland this one. But because of the homecoming, I'm going to leave the game alone.
And the Dodgers take on the Rays with Clayton Kershaw on the mound for L.A. Tampa Bay is going the opener route. Hunter Wood will start. I believe Jalen Beeks is likely to follow him. Tough fading Kershaw. And I understand completely that Kershaw's not the ace he used to be, where he's just, you just weren't going to get anything off the guy, because now he throws 91 rather than 95. But the thing is, he knows how to pitch. And the Dodgers are still winning basically every start he makes. So I'm not anxious to go against him. The Rays stopped hitting a little bit. Yandy Diaz, I believe, is going to miss tonight's game. That's one of their better bats against the lefty. I'm not going to lay the price in the game, but I'm not in love with Tampa in this game. If I had to play it, I'd be on the Dodgers side.
Well, we're just totally opposite. I'm not thrilled with this game, but if I had to play it, I'm on the Tampa Bay side. It's hard to look at Kershaw and say that his numbers are mediocre, like you say. They're mediocre for Kershaw numbers that we're used to, but he still has a 3.40 ERA and a whip of 0.95. So, he's not putting guys on base.
No, he knows how to pitch.
And you said they basically win every time you start. They have won all 6 of his starts. So
I think it's now, 14 or 15 straight starts going back to last year?
It could be. I didn't look back to last year. I know it's a perfect 6-0 this year. But Tampa, they're 8-6 in their last 14 games, Dave. But 4 of those 6 losses have come to the Yankees.